Spencer, it has certainly been exciting, interesting, fascinating to watch. This first time we've had you on with us since this all started. What are you making of it so far?
Well, it must be quite a distraction for Twitter employees. I guess as a former public company CEO, that's the first place I go. The second place I would go is, I think, as anticlimactic as it might be, the most likely scenario is that nothing happens, is that Elon sells his shares at a very large profit and walks away. The second most likely scenario is a private equity firm does a PIPE, meaning they invest in Twitter, but Twitter stays public and Elon doesn't catch his prey. And the market seems to agree with me. Obviously, if the market thought Elon's bid was going to be accepted, it would be closer to the offer price. If they thought his bid was going to be topped, the price would be higher than his offer price. But as of now, the market is saying this probably ends up not getting done.
So, Spencer, if that's the ultimate outcome and this ends up not getting done, what does that mean for Twitter? I mean, we've talked so much about how this stock hasn't gone anywhere. It's struggled to monetize, even struggled to grow. What happens? Do you think that would be a negative?
Well, I mean, Twitter is really in the crosshairs of what motivated Elon in the first place, which is this battle between free speech and content moderation, while also trying to build a business plan or a business model on top of it. It's always been very difficult to monetize user-generated content because some advertisers don't want to be in that type of environment. So if Elon were to walk away and the company remains independent, I think they'll continue the path that they were already on under this leadership, which is to err on the side of content moderation and to try to reduce the hate speech and continue to, some would say validate accounts. Elon Musk would say censor accounts. In other words, keep Donald Trump and others off of Twitter is the general trajectory that the company is on. I think that's probably the trajectory that it will continue on if it stays independent.
So, Spencer, if in fact this is a dead end on the Musk bid, it's not like he's going to exit the platform completely. He's going to continue to tweet. It's a big part of his social currency. And I would imagine he'll continue to keep the board on the defensive just on operations. I wonder how you think they respond to that, since they are unlikely to be able to be as free speaking in their communication.
Well, that's exactly right, Carl. I mean, this Elon headache is not going to go away for the Twitter management team, even if he goes away as a shareholder. In fact, if he's not a shareholder, he'll probably be even more unencumbered and more a thorn in the side of Twitter management, continuing to be a gadfly and throw tomatoes from the sideline at Twitter about everything. I think this is, of course, why he ultimately didn't join the board, is once you're on the inside and you do have a fiduciary responsibility to shareholders, then your wings are clipped somewhat. So Twitter is really between a rock and a hard place. Either they end up selling the company at maybe a price they didn't think was full value, or they end up having Elon walk away, which seems like a win, but it's not really a win because he's still going to be using their own platform to throw tomatoes at them. So I mean, it's a really difficult situation to be in. And where I started the conversation is kind of where I'll go back to, which is it must be a very distracting environment for a Twitter employee to be in. Imagine sitting in a product review or a sales meeting today at Twitter headquarters or working remotely at Twitter with all of these distractions around. And this is a company that has always had these types of distractions. Actually, its success in the face of all of these distractions is quite amazing. Actually, there's probably no company that's been more talked about and had more curveballs thrown its way than Twitter.